Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Very good morning to you. It's a Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. It's time for your midweek motivation right here on www.brandlive.co.za. My name is Keenan Paulson, and I'm the show host for the next 30 minutes. Ronald Reagan says there are no constraints on the human mind, no walls around the human spirit, no barriers to our progress except those we ourselves erect. Once we believe in ourselves, we risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals the human spirit. That is by E.E. Cummings. And Wilma Rudolph said this: never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. We are all the same in this notion. The potential for greatness lives within each and every single one of us. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And today we'll be speaking about the power of the human spirit. I have a poem by Anonymous, and Anonymous writes some beautiful poetry entitled The Evolution of the Soul. A few ideas to remember as we go into the show. Nothing works unless you do. The internal work that you do on yourself is the most important work you'll ever do, even if you don't get paid for it. Number two, trials and hard times and bumps in the road are to be used for your growth and not for self-pity. Remember that life is not happening to you, life is happening for you. Life is happening in service of you. All things are working together for your good right now. Even if you don't see it or feel it, remember, you've made it through 100% of all your worst days. All right, guys, I realize it's Christmas in 19 days' time. That is absolutely crazy. Where has 2017 gone? Christmas in 19 days' time. Perhaps you're looking for a gift idea for your loved one, and why not purchase them a copy of How to Win Before You Begin? That's the book that I've authored. It's mental coaching for people who want to win, and this book really promotes the idea that your victory lies within your mind. As a man thinks in his heart or in his mind, so is he. So if your loved one wants to receive a victory, how about you get them the copy of How to Win Before You Begin? It's available from me directly. You can email me at Keenan, K-E-E-N-A-N, at mindfactory.co.za. The book costs 150 Rand. Why don't you get your loved one a copy, or get yourself a copy of the book, How to Win Before You Begin? But enough about me. Let's get into your midweek motivation. Today's theme is the power of the human spirit. Thank you for joining me here on brandlive.co.za.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za, an industry first in the world of internet radio. Not only are we an internet radio station, we are an internet radio platform for your brand. So why not expose your brand to potentially thousands of listeners and improve your customer relationships and brand equity with podcasts and live broadcasts? Be sure to check brandlive.co.za for more information. brandlive.co.za, harnessing the power of internet radio.
Live.co.za. This is your midweek motivation, and this week the book review is Timothy Ferriss's The 4-Hour Work Week. It's the #1 New York Times bestseller by Timothy Ferriss, and the cover says, "Escape the 9 to 5, live anywhere, and join the new rich." I guess you can see why we picked it up, right? Escape your 9 to 5. I'm sure some people are like, yeah, we want to escape the 9 to 5. But it's not only about escaping and it's not only about propelling the idea of entrepreneurship. There's actually a section in the book for people who actually want to work in the 9 to 5 vocation. And it's helping you become more efficient and more effective. Now, there's a warning on the back of the book, guys. I must tell you this. It says, warning, do not read this book unless you want a new way of living. Forget the old concept of retirement and saving for the future. There's no need to wait, and every reason not to. Whether your dream is to escape the rat race or experience full first-class world travel, earning a monthly five-figure income with no management, or just living more and working less, this book is the blueprint. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Timothy Ferriss, the author. He went from $40,000 a year and 80 hours per week to $40,000 per month and 4 hours per week. One of the ideas that he speaks about in the book is batching your time. So what he does is he only answers emails twice a week. He's batched his time. He says, guys, you will not reach me any other times. I answer emails on Mondays and on Thursdays between this time and this time. That's the only time I'm available on email. Timothy Ferriss also tells you how to eliminate 50% of your work in 48 hours using the principles of a forgotten Italian economist. And this is Pareto's principle. It's the 80-20 principle. And he's basically saying that 80% of your profits or 80% of the benefits come from 20% of your clients. 20% of those people around you are actually paying benefit to you. And then 20% of your profits are coming from 80% of your clients. And Timothy Ferriss tells a story in this book where he had a nutrition business. And in an attempt to streamline his business and take it all online and automate, he realized that 80% of his profits were only coming from 20% of his clients. What did he do with the other 80% of his clients? He simply created a streamlined process where they can order his product online, and it eliminated his involvement in the business. It took his costs all the way down. So Timothy Ferriss is all about maximizing your time, maximizing your effort to get the ultimate result for you. That is the 4-hour work week. It's jam packed. I must tell you that this book inspired me to look at my life in a different way and to eventually write the book that's now How to Win Before You Begin. Because Timothy says, look at the skills you have, look at the people you have in your network, look at the education you've gone through, look at all these experiences in your life, and then put them together in a way that delivers value to an audience, a specific audience, and not just any audience. You have to belong to your audience or your target market group. That is the 4-hour work week by Timothy Ferriss. Comes highly recommended. It says also how to outsource your life and do whatever you want. This is just another idea that's in the book. Timothy says that there are companies in India and China that are giving you virtual personal assistants. So as long as the activity does not require their physical presence, these virtual assistants will take care of it for you. So you're basically streamlining your life. You're taking out all the clutter. You're taking out all the peripheral noise, and you're letting somebody else deal with that while you get down to business, get down to doing those things that you're passionate about. Dr. DeMartini speaks about your highest values, and I think Timothy Ferriss endorses that idea. Spend time on the things that make you come alive. Spend time on the things that are your highest values. That is the 4-hour work week. How about looking at your week? How about looking at your day and asking yourself the question, how many hours do I actually spend doing the thing that makes me productive? How many hours, how many activities make up your day that actually propel you forward? Take stock of your day, look at your time, look at your effort, look at your energy, and ask yourself, am I spending time on things that actually propel me forward? Because busyness is not necessarily productivity, and the 4-hour work week is all about being productive. How do you go from $40,000 a year to $40,000 a month? Man, that's the story in the 4-hour work week. This was our week's book review here on your Midweek Motivation. Next up, we have Why Do We Do That? This is a new segment that I've designed on the show, and it's called Why Do We Do That? And today I'm challenging the handout mentality. All that and more coming up after the break. This is the Midweek Motivation, the show that is dedicated to inspiring your true potential and to make sure that you reach every goal and every dream in your heart.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.beastdownmedia.co.za.
All right, welcome back to brandlive.co.za. This is your Midweek Motivation every single week at 10 a.m. You can get me on Twitter and Facebook and on Instagram. Keenan Paulson is my handle, or at Keenan Paulson is the handle. Today, I'm speaking about the handout mentality. Why do we do that? Is it helping us? Is it hurting us? Let's define the handout mentality. The handout mentality is simply described as this idea that we can exchange something for nothing, and we see it every single day. You just have to go to a traffic light, to a robot. You have to just go there and you'll find somebody waiting to receive financial compensation for zero value. And I'm asking myself, why do we do this? And I'm asking myself, where does this show up in my life? Is it fair? We've all been blessed with the ability to learn and grow and contribute. No one is excluded from being able to add value. There is no excuse why you shouldn't be adding value in whichever situation or whichever circumstance or environment you find yourself in. And I believe the willingness to add value is what's coming into question here. I think everybody has the ability. I think some people are just not willing to. But we continue to perpetuate this idea that it's acceptable to exchange something for nothing. I absolutely loathe it. I mean, we're creating a culture of takers and not a culture of givers. Think about the exchange that happens when I give value, and in exchange I receive value for that. That's a culture of giving. But we perpetuate a culture of taking when we accept the idea that it's all right to give nothing and still expect something in return. I mean, you know, I just think about where I come from, and at a young age, my dad said to me, hey, if you want that pair of shoes, what can you do for me to give you money to get that shoes? Or he would say, well, look, I don't have the money right now, but you can find someone that does have the money. So I was cutting grass for my neighbors at a young age. I was washing cars. We all start off in these places. But it's this idea that you can do something. If you want to receive a benefit, then you can do something for it. Now, please hear me. There's definitely a place for the handout. I mean, a feeding scheme. I just think about a feeding scheme. People are hungry out there. There's a particular school they can go to in the community, and they can go and just receive they can receive a handout. They didn't necessarily need to do anything for that. There's definitely a place for the handout, but there's also a place for the hand up. I don't believe in giving a hand out without giving a hand up. Give people the opportunity to learn a skill. Give people the opportunity to contribute, because we must never become dependent on the handout. And I just looked at a report that was published by Solidarity Helping Hand, and it states that 80% of the beggars on street are drug addicts. Now, I'm just going to scroll through it. They studied a group of males that are aged 24, 26, 27, 29, 30, as much as 48 years old. And they say, if I tell you that 90% of them are addicted to drugs, then I'm not exaggerating, possibly even more. And they get all their money by begging. Man, I'm just going to scroll all the way down to where it says, it's not just beggars. There are traces of it within each and every single one of us. These people are earning between 50 to 500 Rand a day. 50 to 500 Rand a day. And that's Monday to Sunday, people. This was a report that was published by the Business Day. And it's not about race. It's not about age. It's about the idea that it's acceptable. Each time we put our hand in our purse or our wallets and give the guy standing there 5 Rand, it's 90% of the time it's possible that it could go to drugs. 10% maybe going to food, clothing and shelter. Who knows what the percentages are there. But I'm really just saying, where is this mentality within me? And I'm asking the question, where does this mentality exist within you? Are you expecting something for nothing in any area of your life? It could be your relationships. What are you giving in your relationships, and what are you expecting to receive? What are you giving in the workplace? Maybe even concerning your health and fitness. Do you expect to be healthy and fit by just doing nothing? It will not happen. It will not happen. This is the segment. Why do we do that? Why do we give something and expect nothing in return? Why don't we perpetuate the idea of fair exchange? Why don't we perpetuate the idea of hand out and hand up? And by hand up, I mean giving people the opportunity to upskill themselves, giving them an opportunity to contribute and to add value. Does that not give them dignity? Does that not give us dignity when we can add value and receive a benefit from it? This is the Midweek Motivation. I know it was a bit rough, guys, but why do we do that? Coming up next, I've got a poem called The Evolution of a Soul. This is your Midweek Motivation, and we're speaking about the power of the human spirit. So what do you guys think about that?
You're listening to brandlive.co.za, an industry first in the world of internet radio. Not only are we an internet radio station, we are an internet radio platform for your brand. So why not expose your brand to potentially thousands of listeners and improve your customer relationships and brand equity with podcasts and live broadcasts? Be sure to check brandlive.co.za for more information. brandlive.co.za, harnessing the power of internet radio.
Thanks for joining. Welcome back to brandlive.co.za. This is your midweek motivation, and the following poem is called The Evolution of a Soul. Ladies and gentlemen, I found this absolutely inspiring and so beautiful. Listen to the images in this poem. A soul unites with a vessel, with no preconceived notion of what lies ahead. A soul upon arrival is molded by senses, by experiences, by emotions. A soul is innately adept at navigating the treacherous and tumultuous upheaval created by conscious thought. For if not, a soul becomes lost. A soul acts within a vessel, yet remains unattached, unaware, and unbalanced. A soul cannot process its own feelings, its own reality, its own existence. A lost soul has no sense of direction, no sense of reason, no sense of purpose. It clings only to the will to press onwards. For if not, a soul becomes trapped. A trapped soul is bound to its vessel, one entity caged within another. A trapped soul dwells in circles on that which enslaves it. Unwilling, unable, a trapped soul withers and weakens and wanders, and near its end it hopes. And in this hope, the shackles that bind need be unbreakable. For if not, a soul becomes free. A free soul is independent of its vessel, unrestricted, unencumbered, and in control. A soul molds that which lies before it, reaching beyond comprehension. A soul has found itself. It doesn't gain understanding, it is understanding. It does not seek purpose, it is purpose. It does not fear life, it is life. For if not, a soul becomes irrelevant. That was the evolution of a soul. I absolutely love this poem, and my favorite part in this poem is the part. It says the very thing that entraps the soul is necessary for the soul to be set free. Perhaps the very thing that's trapping you, the very thing that's distracting you, the very thing that's ensnaring you, perhaps that's the very thing that's necessary for your freedom. Instead of us running away from these snares, how about we run towards them? Because as I said earlier, life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. That poem was called The Evolution of a Soul by Anonymous. Now we're going to be speaking a little bit later on, after the ad break. It's going to be a very quick one about the power of the human spirit. The power of the human. Every single person has a human spirit. I believe it's a commodity to be used in this life. I believe it's as the title of that poem says, it's about the evolution of your soul. It's about the evolution of your spirit. This discussion coming up right after the break. You're on brandlive.co.za.
Harnessing the power of talk radio.
You guys enjoy that poem?
brandlive.co.za. You're listening to brandlive.co.za. brandlive.co.za.
Welcome back to brandlive.co.za. This is a story entitled Nothing But Problems, taken from Chicken Soup for the Soul by Jack Canfield and Mark Hansen. It says, the man who has no problems is out of the game. On Christmas Eve 1993, Norman Vincent Peale, the author of the all-time bestseller The Power of Positive Thinking, died at age 95. He was at home surrounded by love, peace, and tender care. Norman Vincent Peale deserved nothing less. His positive thinking ministry had brought peace and renewed confidence to generations of people who realized from his sermons, speeches, radio shows, books, that we are responsible for the condition we're in. Since he felt God did not make junk, Norman reminded us that we have two choices every single morning when we wake up. We can choose to feel good about ourselves or choose to feel lousy. I can still hear Norman clearly shouting out, "Why would you choose the latter?" I first met Norman in July 1986. Larry Hughes, who was president of my publishing company, William Morrow & Co., had suggested that we think about writing a book together on ethics. We decided to do that, and the next 2 years working with Norman on the power of ethical management. It was one of the greatest delights I've ever had in my life. Ever since that first meeting, Norman had a great impact on my life. He always contended that positive thinkers get positive results because they're not afraid of problems. In fact, rather than thinking of a problem as something that is negative and ought to be removed as quickly as possible, Norman felt problems were a sign of life. To illustrate that point, here's one of his favorite stories, one that I have used frequently in my presentations. And the story goes as follows. One day I was walking down the street when I saw my friend George approaching. It was evident from his downtrodden look that he was overflowing with the ecstasy and exuberance of human existence, which is a high-class way of saying George was dragging bottom. Naturally, I asked him, "How are you, George?" While that was meant to be a routine inquiry, George took me very seriously, and for the next 15 minutes he enlightened me on how bad he felt. And the more he talked, the worse I felt. Finally, I said to him, "Well, George, I'm sorry to see you in such a depressed state. How did you get this way?" That really set him off. "It's my problems," he said. "Problems, nothing but problems. I'm fed up with problems. If you could get rid of all my problems, I would contribute $5,000 to your favorite charity." Well, now I'm never one to turn a deaf ear to such an offer, and so I meditated, ruminated, and cogitated on the proposition and came up with an answer that I thought was pretty good. I said, "Yesterday I went to a place where thousands of people reside, and as far as I could determine, not one of them had any problems. Would you like to go there, George?" "When can we leave? That sounds like my kind of place," answered George. "If that's the case, George," I said, "I'll be happy to take you tomorrow to Woodlawn Cemetery, because the only people I know who don't have any problems are dead." I love that story. It puts life in perspective. I heard Norman say many times, if you have no problems at all, I'll warn you, you're in grave jeopardy. You're on your way out and you don't even know it. If you don't believe you have any problems, I suggest you immediately race from wherever you are, jump into your car and drive home as fast but as safely as possible. Run into your house and go straight to your bedroom and slam the door. Then go on your knees and pray. "What's the matter, Lord? Don't you trust me anymore? Please give me some problems." And that's a story by Ken Blanchard. And today's topic is all about the power of the human spirit. And the power of the human spirit, in my opinion, is seen when we're faced with adversity. Now, Bernard Williams says, "There was never a night or a problem that sunrise and hope could not solve." Problems are a part of life, people. If you're looking at the obstacle, then you're not focused on the goal. Often we wish for no problems, but have we ever realized that the only people with no problems are people that have passed on? There's no problems in the graveyard, only here on earth. Dr. Mike Murdoch says every problem is a divine instruction. Do you see your problem as a divine instruction? Perhaps it's an instruction to do something new, to do something different. Perhaps it's an instruction to stop doing something. I'm just thinking about health problems, for example. If you're struggling and if you're out of breath when you climb the stairs, maybe that's a problem, and maybe that's a divine instruction to start working out, to start eating healthily. Maybe if your debtors are calling you, maybe that's a problem to stop spending, money on your credit card, for example. Every problem is an opportunity for promotion. I mean, if I just think about South Africa, we had a problem of leadership and unity, and the solution was to release imprisoned Madiba. Every problem is an opportunity for promotion. Madiba literally went from the jail cell to the presidency. Now, if that's not promotion, I don't know what is. Being the problem solver means that people look to you for leadership. So if you're frustrated where you are, you could be frustrated in your relationships or in your job. If you're frustrated where you are, look for a problem to solve. Problem solving gives you credibility because people are drawn to those with a track record of success. Problems are a sign of life, as we heard. And we only grow through adversity. I just think about bodybuilders. Think about these people that put their bodies under tremendous stress, tremendous pressure. And they become proficient at lifting this weight and lifting this stress and lifting the pressure. So problems now become an opportunity for growth, for self-growth. I love the saying that says, level 1 problem, it takes level 2 solutions to solve level 1 problems. The same mind that created the problem is rarely the mind that fixes the problem. So perhaps your problem requires a change of mindset. Perhaps it requires a change of attitude, a change of perspective, a change of paradigm. I also have here that problems bring clarity. Problems sometimes cause us to define what's important and what's not. Problems create the disruption, and this disruption leads to innovation and creativity. Problems are opportunities to explore. Problems allow our inner power to shine through, and there would be no need for a hero were it not for the villain. So I think the power of your human spirit is seen in adversity. I think the power of the human spirit is seen when we are facing those things that seem insurmountable. Like I said earlier in the show, you have made it through 100% of your worst days. You are fully resourced within you to deal with every problem that you face. All adversity can be overcome. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. This has been your midweek motivation. It's been a pleasure, never a chore. My name is Keenan Paulson. I'll see you next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. here on brandlive.co.za.
Guess who got brands talking? brandlive.co.za.